Gerald Celente, welcome back to the program.
Well, thanks for having me.
Third time on the show, although it's always been a charm having you on the show. Gerald Celente is very well known. He's a trends forecaster, the founder of the Trends Journal, History Before It Happens. He's been doing it since the early 90s, I believe.
Well, the magazine since the early 90s. I've been doing this for 38 years, actually 39, in 1980. Yeah.
And has much changed since you started, Gerald?
You know, in some ways, yes. In some ways, no. A lot's changed in the media world. For example, there used to be a thing called journalists and newspapers, and they don't really exist anymore. They've been dumbed down and shortened and squeaked out into little nothings of the death of the Fourth Estate. The Fourth Estate meaning that there's in America there's the judicial branch, the executive branch, and the congressional branch, and the fourth branch was the journalist branch to watch over the other three. That doesn't exist anymore. It's gone. And they've been bought up by hedge funds. They've declined into nothing, and now they're just little propaganda instruments. So that's a real big one. On the geopolitical front, not really, in the sense that, they start wars based on lies, and we're going to save a country to bring freedom and democracy back into it. It's been most of my life, and now you're hearing those same words coming from the White House regarding what's going on in Venezuela. As a matter of fact, even coming out of Canada, in the sense that they're talking about bringing democracy to Venezuela. I mean, how many, and they keep getting away with the line, and people keep buying it. So in some ways, it's changed, and the bigger changes, of course, have become the multinationalism. And at one time, when I was a kid, and we were talking before about my growing up in the Bronx and you being there were a thing called mom and pop stores, and they've been all taken over by the multinationals and the major chains. So what they've done is they've killed the antitrust acts so that the bigs own everything. And back when I was a young guy again, when I began my business in the 1980s, there used to be a thing in the United States called manufacturing. In other words, they used to make their own clothing and their own shoes. And now 96% of everything that we wear comes from overseas. So those are the big changes. But as far as the geopolitics and economics, it's the club still running the show.
Well, it seems that the role of government is not to change things, but to keep things as they are.
Well, that's why you have career politicians. You don't have people called statesmen anymore. They're gone. So now you have people that their whole life becomes a career in politics. And morons, imbeciles, and the people that get the money, they call what the politicians get are campaign contributions, which is really just bribes and payoffs. So they get that dough, so they put out and give what the corporations and the other donors give them. Not even the corporations, it's anybody in any city, any state. They pay them off and they get what they want. So we really don't have a political system anymore. But again, that has been going on for quite a while, but at least they used to pretend to be different. I remember when I was a kid and they had a thing called the Soviet Union. And each year they'd come out and they'd say, look at this place. They had an election and 95% of the people got reelected. Yeah, just like the United States. It's no different.
Yeah, how long has Nancy Feinstein been in office now?
Exactly. You mean not so Feinstein?
Yeah.
And it's one after another. Little Mitch McConnell, one little clown boy girl after another. So that's changed to some extent, but not a lot. So the big changes are globalization, and that is really has affected the country in a major way. Only 12% of our GDP right now is manufacturing.
Well, 2019 is still in its infancy, and one of your top trends for 2019 is censorship. And this morning, of course, we see Roger Stone has been indicted for, no pun intended, some trumped-up charges, it appears to be, witness tampering, obstruction, false statements. It's all very official sounding, but it kind of sounds like someone who has a big mouth. Is that what this is? Is this censorship, or is Roger Stone rightfully being indicted here?
Well, I don't know if he's rightfully being indicted, but what is an indictment? It's an accusation. That's all it is. But you can indict people like they did with those Russians, and then because there is no media anymore. I call, by the way, the people in the press, I call them prostitutes, because they're getting paid to put out by their corporate johns and their Washington whoremasters. So let's go back with the Russian allegations of and that what they indicted Russians because they said that they hacked into the DNC, the Democratic National Committee, back in 2016 presidential race. But there was never any proof. So they indicted him, which is an accusation, but now most of the people believe that that indictment was in fact proof that they hacked in. And again, no proof has been shown. So going back to Roger Stone, this has been the entire U.S. media since Donald Trump got elected. And I'm no Trump fan. I'm a fan of no one. I'm a political atheist. I like some things Trump does, can't stand other things. For example, can't stand the BS they're sending out right now that they're going to bring democracy back to Venezuela. I've been hearing that story about bringing freedom and democracy. Name the country. You want to go to Libya? Try that one. Hey, how about Iraq? Maybe Afghanistan. Hey, let's go back to Honduras. Maybe Nicaragua. Oh, did you forget about Guatemala? So I've been hearing this story all along, so I can't stand Trump on that. Mind your own business. You think you'd be there if it wasn't for the biggest oil reserves in the world? Well, no, it's their broccoli crop. So do I agree with Trump on the trade? Of course I do. Why should we be doing a trade imbalance of $375 billion a year with China? Who would do that kind of thing? So again, I say this because since Trump got elected, the headline news the day he got elected in USA Today, president wins race with 74 lawsuits. I'll never forget it. It wasn't we got a new president. So all this Stone stuff is just, it doesn't add up to anything. How is that going to affect anybody's lives? How is it going to change anything? It's just more of the presidential reality show. That's all this is. And politics is nothing more than show business for ugly people.
Well, democracy, one of the big things about democracy is that you get to vote those who are in power, right? But it's mob rule. 51% decide the fate for the other 49.
Well, it's not even mob, but you're voting for mobs. Yeah. What do you got a choice between the Bloods and the Crips, murderers and thieves? They start wars based on lies and steal our money in the name of too big to fail, tax breaks, loan guarantees, et cetera, et cetera. So it's not a democracy. When people say that, grow up. You got the gangs running the show. It's almost impossible to elect anybody outside the gangs. And we're talking about censorship. One of my friends, Kenny Young, he wrote the song Under the Boardwalk. He started a movement, to clean up the oceans. Guess what? Facebook has blocked them. And you know why? Because they're calling the topic political. So you're talking about anything that they don't want on Facebook blocked during the midterm elections, over 800 sites. You know why? We don't like who they are. Don't you know who we are? We'll tell you anything we want to tell you because we're a bunch of monopolists, just like Google and Twitter. We'll tell you what's right. Now pay attention to us. And what do the people do? It's a country of cowards. Everybody bends down and takes it. Where do they come up with this crap that they're telling us what's appropriate? Oh yeah, get those videos off there about cops that are abusing people. Get those videos off there about people that want to legalize marijuana. We don't like that, and we brought in the Atlantic Council, this neocon group, to tell us what should be up and down. Look at this country. One of our top trends is ready to explode about the obesity trend in the United States. Again, look, they used to have a line when I was a kid, pigs can't fly. You been to the airport lately? There's no fight left in the people. They're drugged out. They're drugged out, and they're dumbed down on junk food. You are what you eat, and that's what this country has become. Look at the way we dress. Look at the way we look. Any fight. They argue over which murder was better. I liked Obama better. I liked the way he destroyed Libya better than the way Bush destroyed Iraq. I like the way Obama killed people with drone strikes better than I like it with Trump. What a bunch of crap. What political system?
And Trump tries to end the Syrian war, the illegal war in Syria, and he's accused of being an agent for the Russian interests.
Exactly. But then again, look what Trump is doing now. But you're 100% right. Illegal war. Can anybody say the word illegal? You're not supposed to be there. And that, by the way, you could thank the Nobel Peace of Crap Prize winner, the arrogant Obama, for that one. Oh, and Hillary Clinton, Samantha Power, and Susan Rice. If only the women were in charge. Yeah, they brought us Libya and Syria. Men, women, white, black, there's good and bad in all of them, but it's identity politics, so we won't talk about facts.
Yeah, notice all the new Democratic nominations are all women.
The Democrats also brought into office in the midterm 12 people from the military-industrial intelligence complex. The Democrats just pushed their first bill through in the House, and you know what it was? Not to defund NATO, to keep NATO going. And that liberal that everybody loves in America, that so-called socialist, that Ocasio-Cortez, she voted for it too. Let's keep that useless NATO that should have been dissolved after the end of the Cold War. Let's keep it going. Those guys, can you imagine NATO? Yeah, we're gonna stop the Russians from coming into Lithuania if they invade. Yeah, come on, grow up. You're just giving money to the military-industrial complex, and the Democrats all voted for it. As I said, it's a mob. That's all it is. Democracy. What democracy? Duh. You're spelling it wrong. It's D-U-H. Democracy.
One of your recent Trends reports was talking about the referendum on the building of the wall, Trump's border wall. Now, wasn't that the election? Wasn't that the referendum there to vote him in?
No, exactly, but that's only the people that voted him in. So now we have wall or no wall. So I'm in favor of direct democracy, like they have in a country that probably nobody knows who the president is, even the people living in the country, a place that hasn't been in war since the 1850s, and wars surrounding them, and they're one of the richest countries in the world, Switzerland. They have direct democracy. You want to put that minaret up there? No, we don't want it there. We don't want to hear your prayers come out every day. That's your trip. We don't want to hear it. Let's have a vote. We'll vote. You want to go to war? Let the people vote. You want a wall? Let the people vote. So here's our simple solution. Do you want the wall? Yes. It'll cost X amount of billions of dollars. No, I don't want the wall. It will cost X amount in me paying more taxes for the immigrants' social needs. Check off each one. Let the people vote. And we're saying it should be direct democracy. We have no, as I said, we don't have a democracy in this country. And now with the technology of blockchain, we can have blockchain democracy. We should have blockchain voting. Look at the disgrace. Look at the simpleton BS clown act that just happened in the U.S. midterm elections when they couldn't decide if somebody won after 3 weeks. And look at these stupid moronic systems that are centuries old. They got to wait online for hours whether to go vote. If you could transfer trillions of dollars in a millisecond, with banks and major corporations are transferring money and all over the world using blockchain technology, once your transaction is made, it is blocked. We can't have blockchain voting. No, we can't have blockchain voting. I'm some political arrogant jerk, and I'm going to tell you I don't want it, so we can't have it because it could be hacked into. Oh, yeah. I remember, wasn't there an election in the United States in 2000, and they can't count the Chads in Florida, and a murderer named George Bush beat another lowlife called Gore? Look at the elections. They're all hacked. So I'm saying blockchain democracy. Oh, the people are too stupid to vote on these issues. Oh, yeah, we got Nancy out of her mind Pelosi. We got Lindsay. Did you come out of the closet yet, Graham, telling us what to do? Look at these little jerks that the people are allowing to lead them around. So the answer to the whole situation is, hey, if it's good enough for Switzerland, it's good enough for me.
What are your thoughts? You mentioned blockchain. What are your thoughts on cryptocurrency? Because it's all gone to hell in a handbasket, right? 2018, not a good year for crypto.
I'm not an expert in cryptocurrency, but we have one for the Trends Journal. His name is Jonathan Cho. And we have his report that'll be out in just a week. And without giving it away, it's not on the upside. However, having said that, we believe there's a future for cryptocurrencies because the world is going cashless. And we're going to see more and more revolts against the establishment, as you're seeing in France with the yellow vests and the elites on and on around the world. So as the system breaks down, and at some point we're going to also see this 250 trillion debt bubble that's growing bigger, it's going to explode. When that explodes, then you're going to see more and more of a drive into the alternative currencies. But right now is another trip on hand.
I got a question. So this $250 trillion debt bubble, who is this money owed to? If everyone owes everyone, who's owed the money?
Well, the money is owed. They have these games. They're collateralized loan obligations. There's, of course, the government debt, and there's personal debt. So there's corporate debt. So it's throughout many different levels. Look at the United States. We have a $20 trillion debt level. They have, I know this might be improper to talk about Christmas rather than not just talking about retail sales and Black Friday, but I think Christmas used to be celebrated for this guy's birth named Jesus Christ. I know that may be improper to talk about, and it's not about business, but the only time the Prince of Peace became violent is when he picked up a whip to drive the money changers out of the temple. Could anybody say Goldman Sachs, J.P. Morgan Chase? Could anybody say Citigroup and Wells Fargo? How about that, huh? It's a takeover. Central banks, they made it up. The United States had no central bank. Federal Reserve is as federal as Federal Express. They're private banksters. Do you know how much the value of the dollar's declined since Woodrow, may he rot in hell, Wilson gave us the Federal Reserve in 1913?
98%.
You got it. And I say rotten hell because that little SOB, he's from Princeton, Harvard, Princeton, Yale, bullets, bombs, and banks, he brought us into World War I that we had no business being in, that only killed more millions of people and destroyed much of Europe. So again, they made up this stuff. It's a takeover. All we are little workers in Slavelandia for the multinationals, for those people in Davos. You saw the Oxfam report that came out. 23 people have more money than half the world's population combined, and they're all in Davos. In the United States, we have Jeff Bezos, Warren Buffett, and Bill Gates have more money than half our population combined.
Half of all online sales are done through Amazon now.
That's right. It's a monopoly. This wasn't allowed at one time, and it goes back to, you said, the democracy. What democracy? You got a bunch of little lowlifes called Republicans and Democrats that got paid off to enrich the monopoly so they get more money. Oh, by the way, I say this from experience. At a graduate school, I was the number 2 guy running the mayoral campaign in Yonkers, New York, a city of over 300,000. Worked on the campaigns in Westchester County, the richest county in the United States at the time. I was the assistant to the Secretary of the New York State Senate. I designed and instructed American politics and campaign technology and taught at St. John's University, and I was the chief government affairs specialist for the chemical industry in America back in the 70s. I got pictures of me and Reagan, this one, that one. I've been with presidents, princes, and prime ministers. It's a freak show. And all they do is, I said, these are the same people you hated in high school and college that wanted to be class president and head of the student council. That's all they are. They don't know anything about anything other than their ego and their self-interests, and they're robbing us blind in front of our eyes.
Just to veer to the left here, I wanted to ask about electric cars, because I know the demand for oil is going down, but now I understand the price of electricity is going up. Do you see a significant future there with the electric cars?
No, we've written about this a lot. Neither electric cars nor these driverless cars. One of our trends, this is going back to they were our top trends for 2017, and I'll tell you why. You look at all the recalls first on the driverless cars that you get. I mean, hoods pop open, my ignition switch doesn't work. One accident after another, millions, tens of millions, like 23 million recalls, some ridiculously high number. You're going to tell me about a driverless car? Save it, man. Ain't going to happen. Not for many, 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 many years. Will they have driverless from point A to point B? Yes. But not like they're selling it. On electric cars will not advance because of a thing called the battery. The battery was invented in 1800, and it hasn't progressed much since. They have to come up with a better system. You could only put so much energy into those batteries before they explode. And when you look at the sales of electric cars, they amount to virtually nothing. And so we need a new technology before it goes into a better technology. And electric cars are not the answer.
2019, bullish or bearish?
Well, we were bearish in the sense that we called an economic 9/11 on September 19th, 2018. And we said that the markets were going to decline because the Federal Reserve of the United States was going to aggressively raise interest rates. And so we saw what happened. That was 2 days before the markets peaked. And then immediately after that, the market started going to bear and correction territory around the world, meaning going down 10 to 20%. What changed it? On January 4th, 2019, the Federal Reserve Chairman Jerome Powell said, we're concerned about the equity markets, and this is, by the way, the day when we have employment numbers come out, creating over 300,000 jobs and the best wage increases in 10 years. We're concerned about their markets, so we're going to be more patient in raising interest rates. And then everything reversed. So, the markets, by the way, the United States equity markets, 1% of the people own 50% of all of the household stocks. That's right, 1%. Hey, and Jerome Powell, the bankster, they're concerned about the markets. So to answer your question, what's going on in China, what's going on in Europe, what's going on in Japan, what's going on in the United States, we'll put more monetary methadone into the system because our greedy people that got to become the billionaires that run the world don't want to see their fortunes going down. So we're going to do anything we can to put more monetary methadone into the bull. And that's what they're doing. When will it die? It's hard to say. You can't predict it, because we never predicted that Jerome Powell, the Fed chair, would be a little lowlife that he is and backtrack after he got pressure from Trump week after week, month after month, not to raise interest rates. But again, my having been into the political system, I know that the only way you rise to the top is to bend over, bow down, and take it any way you can get it so you can keep your position.
What is Occupy Peace? Is this a play on the Occupy movement? It's something new from Gerald Celente.
Yeah, well, we did it. We began it in 2015. We closed down the most historic corners in America here in Kingston, New York, the only place with pre-Revolutionary War stone buildings on each corner, 3 of which we own. And we had Ralph Nader here, Cindy Sheehan, the woman who camped out in front of George Bush's place at his ranch out there in Texas for months after his son was killed in Iraq. Dr. Robert Thurman, Uma Thurman's father, Gary Null, and others, Dr. Paul Craig Roberts. And Occupy Peace is the only peace movement in the world, in America, that has an action plan for peace. Number 1, close the 800 bases overseas and bring the troops home. Secure the homeland, put them to work to rebuild our third world infrastructure. Number 2, force Congress to vote to go to war, which they have not done since World War II. It's against the Constitution. They've given El Presidente of los Estados Unidos the right to wage wars anytime he wants. And number 3, direct democracy. We the people pay for the wars with our money and our lives. We'll tell Congress how to vote. So that's what Occupy Peace is. Bring home the troops, close the bases overseas, put them to work here. So there's 4 elements of it. Force Congress to vote to go to war as per the Constitution, and have we the people vote to tell them what to do. And right now, get ready for another war, not only with Venezuela and what the United States is doing, because if you're going to see a migrant crisis, you haven't seen anything yet. Because if war breaks out there between Colombia, Brazil, Argentina, and others aiming at Venezuela with the United States behind it, and a clear record of coup attempts and coups the United States has committed in Latin America over the decades, you're going to see a human wave of migrants flooding out of South America into North America that'll be unprecedented. The other war to look out for that the United States is ready to launch along with Israel and Saudi Arabia is a war against Iran. If that happens, get ready for World War III. And this will really be the war to end all wars, because it'll end life on Earth if it really blows up the way the morons are setting it up to do.
Brilliant stuff. We're out of time. To the audience, subscribe to the Trends Journal. Just Google it. I know you can figure it out. Gerald Celente, always a pleasure having you on the program. Thank you so much.
And thank you so much for having me on, and thank you for all that you do.